Chronicles of Darkness, Vampire, a Requiem for London. Tonight we set our scene once more in Elysium, as the ghostly aria of a certain less than human singer has concluded, numerous backroom arrangements having been made. And a few curious conversations leading to some odd jobs down the line. The king steps forward from a balcony overlooking the crowd of the kindred below. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, if I may have your attention for just a simple moment. First of all, I would like to thank our host, Sir Balthazar Coldmorn, for giving us an absolutely wonderful evening tonight. His efforts in accommodating our needs and seeing to our wants has not gone unnoticed. And I'd like to offer him my personal gratitude for both the accommodations and security he has offered to both myself and all of us on this fine evening. Secondly, the court comes bearing grand and great news. For so long, for the past 10 years, this domain has stood divided. Standing, yes, but divided. It is my pleasure to inform you tonight that now this division ends. No more shall this city be split into two sides. Two fractions, rendering less than what it always should have been. Tonight, I'm pleased to announce of the Carthians' reintegration into the court. Their former state reformed into a barony in good standing within our domain under myself and Queen Morgan. Under the astute leadership of Charlie Hood, Lord of the Carthian movement. Oh, I had somebody unmute themselves. What they're going to say?
From the crowd, Balthazar, just to kind of as a it's going to be interesting because it's kind of a sideways jab, but it's also it could be considered to be good nature. And also the alliteration is funny to me. He shouts out, "All hail Lord Hood," because the prince called him Lord of the Carthian movement. So all hail Lord Hood.
few other kindred from the crowd, several of which are Carthian, go, "All hail, Lord Hood."
All hail Lord Hood!
As the king chuckles slightly and goes, "Long may she reign." If you wish permission to enter her domain, it just so happens that she is here this evening. So if you wish to make your future presence within her domain known, feel free to acquaint yourself with her this evening. That is all. Once again, many thanks to the host for this delightful evening and the fantastic performance. As he sort of gestures to the stage area of where the singer once was. And I wish the rest of the court a fine and pleasant evening. Thank you. And he will retreat from his post. Leaving you all to do as you will with the rest of the night. As the Elysium is set to end on a surprisingly positive note. How lovely. No ill tidings here.
Sir Coldmorn?
Yes, Doctor.
There's been a package delivered.
Yes, it's been dealt with. It wasn't what we considered it to be. It was a gift. Don't concern yourself with it.
I'm not.
Well, all in all, things went swimmingly.
Incredibly so.
That is good to hear.
Miss Deltar.
There's a very cold, look on her face as she kind of looks over at you. It's Dr. Deltar. Thank you very
Dr.
much,
Deltar.
Dr. Kingston.
I truly apologize. I did not mean to offend.
Fire just kind of just tilts her head, I might have burned for the trouble then.
Damn.
I like her. She's mercenary.
Damn.
I hear you've acquired some very interesting beverages as of late.
Beverages, Dr. Kingston.
Exotic samples. You know, perhaps one of her teeth, her canine specifically.
Fire just raises an eyebrow as she crosses her arms.
Do you want me to be plain and say it out loud here, or do you want to be private about it?
I am more curious as to why you were asking.
What's taste? I mean, that's fairly obvious. Hello, everyone.
Good evening, Miss Natalia.
Natalia, I would hope you have not gotten yourself hunted again.
She just puts out her hands, looks around, and just looks around, just no one is looking for me, so I think I'm good.
That is fortunate to hear.
Yeah, I guess. She kind of looks as though she's about to say something, but stops. Or she doesn't say anything. She just looks at her for a moment.
Violet's gaze is very much cool. She just kind of watches. Anyway, Dr. Kingston, what is it you would have asked of me?
I was wondering if you'd go to share. You know, for the right price, of course.
That is not within my jurisdiction, Dr. Kingston. So unfortunately, we'll have to turn down the offer.
Could
If
I
you
ask
want.
whose- Could I ask whose jurisdiction it is?
Violet shakes her head. You may not.
I guess I'll just have to go about acquiring it some other way.
Good luck.
Well, thank you.
Well, charming as this has all been. By the way, Chris, just so you're aware, because you're going to ask how the hell did you know that, Evan? Pompey shared with me the thing that he's talking about, so Balthazar knows about the specific beverages he's referencing. AKA the conversation between Queen Morgan and other people. So he just kind of sits there for a few moments with his cane, just kind of twirling it around in his hand, before he raises an eyebrow. Well, that was cryptic.
Bit of discretion, of course.
It is the better part of valor. Was the by the way, was the new Baron called Primogen? Another first name was Charlie. What was it? Hood. I think it was Hood.
I think so.
Yes, the new Baron was called Charlie Hood.
Are they still currently in situ?
Yeah, she's around. She's talking of some kindred who have an interest in venturing into her new domain.
Balthazar will stand up. He kind of offers a slight bow to those gathered. If you'll excuse me, unless anyone would care to join me in congratulating the new Baron on their new seat.
Of course.
Yeah, Charlie. Actually, one second. Let me get you to what.
Figment will follow unless somebody tells her not to.
No way! Don't leave me. Come back. One sec. Charlie Hood is right here. I don't know if it's name.
So Balthazar will walk towards her, leaning on his cane with Figment and Kingston in tow, I guess, before he extends a hand. Baroness Hood, or Lady Hood, pleasure to make your acquaintance properly. He smiles.
Yeah, it's a nice party.
I do good work. I can be booked for bar mitzvahs and children's birthdays.
Well, it must have been hell on Christmas.
I merely wish to, how do I best phrase it? Dot the I's and cross the T's on the formalities of doing business in your new barony, as it would seem as though I've just bought a vast swath of it.
How have you now?
Were you not there when I gave one of your compatriots a little present tonight?
I overheard it was a pretty big announcement.
I'm not a man who believes, as I say, in, shall we say, building walls where it is the flow of business is easier when it is a river and not a dam. So consider that a taste of my goodwill towards the movement as a general whole. But yes, I do own a number of kindred business interests and homes within your domain that I intend to see to in an equitable and fair manner. But it is good form to ask your permission before doing business within your domain. So, dot the I's and cross the T's.
If it becomes an issue, I'll let you know. As of right now, it's been like, what, an hour since you made that announcement? And it's been about 5 minutes since I became a baron. So I'm not exactly going to be kicking up a fuss about it right now. I believe... Well, I've already got a large enough queue in front of me as it is.
Balthazar extends his hand.
She'll shake him.
By the way, is it known what clan this woman is?
Not me intelligence politics.
Where's the dice roller? There it is. Two.
So, you recall just a few minutes ago that Stanford said they were a lord of the coffee movement. It's not a title, it's a nickname for a venture.
Oh, okay. I misread that as a little bit of cynicism.
Pays to know your street slang.
I didn't quite hear you, Chris.
Oh, it pays to know your street slang.
Balthazar will, however, smile. He inclines his head before he will step back and let this woman deal with the immense amounts of people who are no doubt about dogpiling. As he steps back, he'll say where Figment and Kingston can hear him. If you want information on the blood that you're looking for, Dr. Kingston, I would suggest talking to Queen Morgan, as she's more than likely the individual who can give you the information that you seek. I'd be more than happy to see if she's amenable for a conversation.
That would be most pleasant.
Hey, Figment, do you want to go experiment with some weird blood?
Sure, why not?
If anyone else wants, I was going to say, if anyone else wants to do anything, I need to go and get a drink and such anyway before I go and attempt to make nice to the Queen, who is the eternal ice bitch of the outer dimensions.
Cyrus just left. Natalia's just gonna look around. Just he always talks like that. Like people around here, like I've heard him talk in others like sittings, and he's never not talked like that, right?
So,
I'm not missing anything, right?
yes.
Right.
Me? Yes.
I'm just curious. Like it's weird. That's all.
Not the weirdest. I've heard
No,
weirder.
no, but it's just he's putting on, quite like it's got to be taxing, like to constantly be like, well, you know what? I'm going to be polite. I'm not gonna. It's going to be fine. I'm going to, yeah, I'm going to be over here. Yeah. And Natalia just gets over to a corner where there is the least amount of people. Roll.
All right. As you make your way over to the Queen Coldmorn, Figment, you will be approached by this lovely looking lady. Who will say, just the woman I'm looking for.
Me?
Yes, you're Figment, correct.
Yep.
Child of the Baron of Tower Hamlets, Order of the Dying Light, etc., etc.
Yep, that's me.
Excellent.
So you know who I am. Who are you?
Laurel Goodman, Order of Mysteries.
Wasn't your brother a mass murdering sociopath?
I don't speak of my brother.
I just love the very. Wasn't he a mass murdering sociopath? Sorry, continue.
It wasn't he a serial killer? She's like, anyway.
What can I help you with then?
That is in fact what I was looking for, a degree of help. I believe I have something for you that suits you to a T, and I was wondering if you were interested.
What is it?
A very specific diplomatic mission of sorts.
I have a feeling I know where this is going. Only one kind of diplomacy people come to me for, generally speaking.
Oh, excellent. Why don't you elaborate for the crowd?
Kind of cocks her head to the side.
I just look at her and just. No, I'm not gonna say anything.
Because I
Well, what is
believe.
it you...
Oh, sorry.
I was just like, well, what is it exactly you'd like me to do?
There is an individual who has an interest in us, but is a bit reticent to give us the time of night.
She left first.
Oh no. Figment has returned.
Sorry,
She's
my
not, in
internet
fact, a
died. One more
figment of
time.
our imagination.
Sorry. Internet died.
How dare
So
you,
what exactly
Internet.
is it you'd like me to do?
There's an individual who has an interest in us, but is a bit reticent to give us the time of night. I believe you could help me resolve that particular issue. It's not something I'd like to discuss too openly, as it's an internal matter.
Well, if it's something I'm able to help with, I'm very much willing to.
It's something I believe you'd be extremely helpful with, actually.
Inclined to agree.
And you are very inclined towards building bridges, from what I hear. Would that be fair to say? I think our internet died again.
Maybe.
I think, yeah.
It's really hard to tell.
I think they're gone. They're dead, Chris.
They're gone.
There they go.
She was a figment of our imagination this whole time. Oh no, she wasn't. She's real! Again.
Jesus Christ.
It's a lie.
Figment. Hashtag definitely not fake.
Fake news.
Definitely real news.
Real news figment. That's what they called me.
But yes, she said something I believe you'd be very helpful in assisting us with. And from what I hear, you're very inclined towards building bridges.
Do you like bridges?
London has many of them for sale.
For sale? We buying bridges?
I
This
wouldn't
sounds
recommend
like
it.
a beginning of a punchline.
Greatly overinflated value.
I mean, if you set up a toll bridge, that makes it slightly cheaper.
Something tax the rich.
Something, please don't tax me. I like being rich.
Likewise.
Of course we do.
Something, none of you are rich compared to me. Continue with life.
Just gonna take my bike back to my basement.
Laurel will remember that.
Oh, don't worry. I'm coming to your pharmaceutical business, bitch. Sorry, continue.
So, is there anything else you can discuss with me about this as of now, or should we wait? Or should we perhaps go somewhere private?
Oh, we can go somewhere private if you like. Right this way. She'll just begin walking off.
Maybe we'll follow her.
Alright.
So I'm just going to go to the Queen by myself then. You don't want to have anything to do with weird blood, yes?
I'm following her. Following him.
Yeah.
I mean, word blood's not necessarily my area of expertise, but if it seems like something that would be my area of expertise or you need help, let me know.
Understandable.
Fire will also return to the Queen's side if the others are heading towards Morgan.
Yep. Morgan is at a table. Sitting seemingly just enjoying her time at a table that overlooks most of the court. She appears to just be, for the moment, sampling some of the fine vessels at the Elysium. If it isn't our delightful host and somebody else.
My apologies for interrupting you, Your Majesty. He bows politely. She's sitting at a table.
Yeah, she's just sitting at a table.
Are there other people sitting at the table?
No, just a few.
Vi-
Oh, apart from Vice, just a few of the vessels.
Vi swiftly stands to watch the others while standing at the Queen's shoulder.
Dr. Kingston will also bow as Balthazar bows.
I do hope that you enjoyed our tasting tonight. I'm led to understand that they were some of the finest vessels that my dear Messalaria's friend Norman had in his private stock.
He has a very impressive selection.
When I was told that I would be hosting both myself, I had to burst out every one of the stops. You understand?
Not much can meet my particular tastes. But I will say Master Norman's supply comes closer than most.
He will smile. I'm mainly here, Your Highness, in order to serve as an intermediary in a proposal from my dear Dr. Kingston and to try and facilitate an agreement. Kind of, his cane goes to the back of Dr. Kingston as she is kind of, as he pushes her like 2 steps forward to stand beside him and look at the Queen, just like, to back,
Yeah.
move forward.
Ah, yes, the good doctor. The soon to be very, very, very useful doctor.
Indeed. And as far as I've been hearing, recent threats to the domain have caused an increase in surveillance equipment by hunters, correct?
London needed no help in having more cameras. But
I mean,
from what I hear, you speak for truth.
I'm inclined to agree that London does not need more cameras. In fact, they don't even intend to build anymore. But what I am interested in is expanding my horizons. You see, I've heard from the grapevine, in what little time I've been here, that you are in possession of some very interesting samples in your own personal collection. I would like to purchase some.
Oh, and whatever makes you think I've got a supply of rare and unique blood?
Oh, you know what. Ford has always arrived with ears listening and mouths talking. Sometimes a few people aren't very good at keeping their mouths shut. I turn very slightly to look at Violet.
Violet just raises an eyebrow in response. Very cool.
I see. Well, I'll say this. Whether or not I have such a thing, I certainly have the means to attain it, rather simply. But I'm quite interested in what blood you're looking for and why.
Well, I'm a researcher, of course. I tend to study it, sample it, understand it, and see if it can be implemented to assist in our research. And as for the variety of blood, one moment, I need to check something. I don't believe I speak any other language than English, do I?
I don't think so. I don't think you took the language merit.
No, I did not. The witch's blood.
Hey, sorry to question, but where the hell did Dr. Kingston find out about the alternate blood sources?
That was a roll. You got an exceptional success. It's all above board.
Okay.
The Queen raises an eyebrow. It's a bit difficult to tell whether she's amused or irritated. You definitely got a response out of her. I'm not sure you know what that is.
May one do a perception empathy on the queen to see what her emotional state currently is?
Sure, minus 6 dice.
I'll make the roll. I actually might have enough dice to do it. Let's see. Balthazar, Balthazar, Balthazar.
She's got a lot of manipulation. Not unbeatable for someone with a lot of empathy, though. There you
2
go!
successes. I had to spend a willpower to get that dice pool. 2 successes.
Okay. Okay, so Balthazar. You think she's irritated? It's not immediately clear why. Her response, that sort of response though, that emotional feedback occurred when witch blood was mentioned though.
Interesting. Neat.
And she just said, I didn't. You're not quite sure what that. I'm not sure that you know what that is.
Yeah, she's questioning your understanding of it.
Indeed, you would be correct. I do not understand what it is, but it sounds interesting, and let me just say I'm quite curious.
The Queen... thinks to herself for a moment. She doesn't seem to be giving the matter too much thought, although the smile has slipped from her face at this point. She almost looks a little bit idle. I suppose I could attain such blood for you.
Oh, How marvelous. And your price?
One major boon.
One major boon for a vial of witch's blood. It sounds equitable to me.
Then it is done. The smile re-emerges on her face.
If your majesty will forgive me, Father Cyril stepped forward, may I have a brief window of your time? No more than a few moments to speak with you privately. Because she's like the queen, if you want me to make a persuasion check or something to actually make her talk to me privately, I'm quite happy to roll it.
Of course. Of course you may. You are the host after all. However, I must insist. And she'll sort of just point behind her, just casually to Violet, that she remain.
By all means. Dr. Kingston, I'll speak to you later.
Of course. And with that, Dr. Kingston leaves.
Rather funny little woman, he says as Dr. Kingston leaves.
I don't think they're all that funny. I think they're very... Path of the course is a term I've heard in recent years.
They are very trademarked, or I'll give them that. Well, needless to say, I'm here in order to see if I can facilitate another trade for a piece of information that I'm relatively sure you want, he says with a smile.
All this business that is ever so tiring. Why, I may slip into torpor at any moment.
I should hope not, my lady. It took you long enough. I know he won't say that, but it took you long enough to wake up last time.
I'm gonna roll for frenzy.
No.
Brilliant 4.
But he'll say, my lady, as I've said, it's a piece of information that you yourself espouse to the wanting, if my ears are correct.
Well then. Best be quick before I fall back into my endless slumber.
He will smile. If you find this information to be value, shall we say a minor boon?
That will depend on the information.
Very well. You had a conspiracy theory, I believe, or rather not conspiracy theory, but you were musing out loud that you believed that the Invictus had something to do with the predication of the hunters in this domain, and their attempts to redirect the hunters for a greater purpose. Of course, I can provide illumination on this. As I've said, my price is a minor boon. Since I have to do it with Stanforth, would you like me to roll persuasion to see if she thinks it's worth it? Or any kind of social roll to be like, hey. Because ironically, he does actually have info about this.
Yes, you're genuine. Roll me... Well... as genuine as Coldmore can be. Roll
I'm sorry to do
me. This is manipulation expression.
Can I do persuasion or no? I have pools for both. I just have a slightly better pool for persuasion.
Yeah, I'd say this is more expression.
Okay. Do I lose any dice or anything melodramatic?
No.
All right.
The reason I
So,
chose expression
can-
is because she can't really be persuaded to take the boon. You know what I mean?
So, I can add my city status.
Yeah, you can add your city status.
And can I add my fashion, my equipment bonus?
You're dressed well, sure.
Awesome. So that's 4 plus 3 is 7 plus 3 is 10 plus 1 is 11. And I'm going to spend that willpower for that sweet, sweet roach. Sweet roach. So 9, 10, 6 successes, Chris.
Okay, so. Okay. She'll take a moment. She'll give it some serious thought. I'll pay you. A trivial. Oh. And this. And, she will, take off one of her, rings and just sort of casually toss it at you.
He uses the incredible celerity-driven reflexes to just do the... So it almost looks like his hand didn't move, but it's in his hand. You know what I mean? Just the...
She simply says, use it on somebody you don't like.
Understandable, Your Highness. Well, to keep my end of the bargain, you would believe that the First Estate were in some way connected to the Hunters and were attempting to manipulate them for our own goals. I can tell you that this is categorically not the case, as I attempted to do so and was less than successful in the endeavour. As a matter of fact, they proceeded to cock a number of guns armed with dragon's breath rounds at the back of my head.
What are those?
I beg your pardon?
What are those?
Dragon's breath rounds are incendiary rounds, my lady.
Oh. In which case I'm very surprised to see you standing here.
I'm very resourceful and tend to be able to talk my way out of most situations. However, we have no... Actually, Chris, for the 5 successes, what he does is he kind of looks down at... He gets down on one knee and kind of looks up at her, if that makes sense. So he kind of abases himself, very much like lowering his head, before he'll say, And I'm kind of working this in with the 6 successes to kind of make what he's saying sound good because it was an expression roll. You know what I mean? He says, "We in the First Estate are committed to our allies. You, by opting to, as I have said, marry our illustrious king, are our ally. If we were to be attempting to manipulate the hunters in that way, you would be told about it. We honor our agreements. Sanctified by oath. I'm somewhat of an expert in that way."
And I would never question the Invictus's sense of honor.
Good. He smiles. As he looks up, we wouldn't want things to go out of control, now would we?
Oh no, of course not.
Did you like that, Chris? I liked that. But he will stand and he will say, "If you haven't been informed, I had assumed you would have been, for the record. We have, however, identified the name of the lead of the police unit whom are operating with the hunters. So, if nothing else, we now bought ourselves a valuable piece on the road. We are not attempting to manipulate them. Are you aware of the debacle that occurred some years ago, whilst you still slept? I'm not sure how recent history has affected you, with an organization calling themselves the Coxcomb Society."
I don't know why they call themselves that.
Neither do I, frankly. But you are aware of what occurred with them, yes?
Very embarrassing business.
Yes, but it shows what happens when members of the First Estate find that other individuals are playing dalliance with those who would consign us to the sword and to the flame. We take that business very seriously.
And yet I hear their progenitor still lives.
He is a social outcast, Raya, but I believe he does.
So it seems.
With that, Balthazar will stand. I've taken up quite enough of your time already, my lady. As I've said, I wish you both a pleasant evening. Dr. Deltar, always a pleasure. Unless you require me for anything else, Queen Morgan.
Oh no, I'd hate to take up more of the host's time.
Violet will give a single nod to a cold one.
And he will turn and depart.
As Balthazar leaves, Morgan will... Well, she won't say anything. You all have a... Violet, hear a very Morgan-like voice in your head saying that will need to be looked into further.
Vi will mentally respond with, "I had not mentioned any of our interactions to anyone, so I'm a little concerned as to how Dr. Kingston acquired that information."
They implicitly gave it away.
Violet will nod.
if they make themselves a problem, well, it won't be myself that needs to deal with the aftermath.
Understood, my lady.
Figment. Figment.
Yes.
There you are. Hiding away from everyone.
Something politics.
Something politics. Figment's like, ew. Runs away. It's like just utterly noxious to her. Like, oh! But,
Sounds too much like responsibility.
yeah, speaking of responsibility, you'll work for Laurel. And you've sort of just gone into a private area of the club, really. But, she'll just say, sorry about that.
So I'm guessing this individual that you need assistance with is a very specific persuasion.
In a sense, I'll let you have a guess.
Ghost?
No, but close. Someone like you.
Like me.
Different branch of the family. Quite far removed, in fact.
Interesting.
Do you know of a kindred called Vesta Marfield?
Do I?
Maybe what's politics?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
One success.
Yeah, you've heard of her. She is the child of Baron Eubanks. And Baron Eubanks is San Giovanni, which means Vesta probably is as well.
Heard of them?
I've been in correspondence with her over the past 2 months. She has expressed an interest in joining our order, but her sire is a staunch independent and wields quite considerable influence over the area in which they dwell, and over the considerable number of spirits inside the area. I was hoping you'd be able to work with me and her in order to resolve this matter.
I can try. Is there something specific that you want with her?
Not with her, but with the forces that surround her.
Ah. the spirits, or something else?
For you, the spirits, you may have noticed the individual on the stage not too long ago. Not exactly human.
No. Interesting trick.
I was informed by Vesta that was the work of Mr. Eubanks, or the Baron Eubanks. Apologies. Oh heavens, it's not like I need to apologise. You don't care, do you?
Not particularly.
Excellent. That's vastly preferable for me. Yeah, supposedly there was an exchange in prestation there.
Do I know specifically what would be used to make that happen? To manifest a spirit like that?
Oh, yes, you could actually, yes. Roll me your intelligence occult. Because this would be, and if I assume you've got a specialty in spirit/ghosts.
I do.
Okay, then you would add your dice from your specialty, because this is right up your alley.
One success.
Only one okay. It's fine, you
I'm
only
bad
need
at
the one
rolling
success. Everything is fine. 1 second, let me find this for you. To get a ghost to manifest is actually a little bit tricky. Spirits have a difficult time manifesting in the physical world. It's not something they can just do. There needs to be, to your understanding, a set of conditions that allows the spirit to manifest. They can occasionally force it under less than ideal circumstances, but it's difficult and dangerous for them to attempt. And in most cases they simply can't try at all. For a ghost, it's very much the presence of death. They effectively need the environment attuned to them for them to be able to manifest cleanly or without risk. So it would be a relatively specific and advanced ritual in order to accomplish. Mechanically, in order to materialize, not manifest, but to materialize in the physical world, a ghost would need to spend a significant portion of its essence, aka its blood pool, and it would require the open condition for them to even do. But the environment would need what's called the open condition.
So something had to have been done to the area
Yes.
beforehand in order for this to work.
Yes, it would take a bit of prep work, and the ritual itself would be relatively advanced, at least 3 dots in the kindred necromancy. So, yeah, that's what you know. You know it'd be a relatively advanced ritual with a fair bit of prep time. definitely done before the night of the Elysium,
Mm-hmm.
or at least a significant amount of time before.
So this person that they want me to recruit, they're Giovanni. They're not a Dragolescu, right?
San Giovanni, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything in particular you're willing to offer them? I'm not generally recruited to sell the order to the living or pseudo-living.
Well, I don't require you to offer anything. All I require from you is the removal of a few obstacles. So that our friend Vesta feels comfortable joining our sect. I believe she'd be a significant boon to us and a great study partner for yourself.
Hmm.
You two come from very different bloodlines, yet your abilities are remarkably similar.
Not really by accident. But I'll be sure to talk to her. You know where I might find her? It's her territory.
You reside within a cemetery, don't you?
Do?
I'll send her there.
Right?
Is there anything you need from me? Normally kindred offer each other all manner of rewards for their services. Usually boons or... well, usually just boons. Or domain.
Like my graveyard.
I would prefer to ask you what you would want, as opposed to just handing you something.
Minor boon?
Pardon?
Minor boon?
I'd be happy to pay you a minor boon for your trouble. If the matter escalates, I may even raise it to a major boon. You're after all
Well,
my
if the matter
sect mate. I feel generous.
Do you feel that it's likely to escalate? Seems very simple compared to what I was expecting.
I'm not an expert on matters of the spirit, so I can't say for certain. I believe that's something that will become clearer to you in time. Certainly clearer to you than it will be to me. But we'll start with a minor boon. And then, well, if you start suddenly and spontaneously combusting, well, I'll know what the real price should be.
Is that a thing you expect to happen?
Well, I have heard spirits can cause spontaneous combustion.
Oh, fair enough. I'm not overly worried about spontaneous combustion.
Oh, well, in which case we'll keep it to minor regardless.
The implication being there's much worse that can happen.
I wouldn't know about that, I'm afraid.
Apparently not.
But I do appreciate you offering rather openly to help. Usually it's such a struggle.
I'm called upon fairly frequently for diplomacy that is much more weird than this. I don't really see the purpose of beating around the bush, generally speaking. If ghosts come and burn down my graveyard, I'll be sure to send you a bill.
Well, that wouldn't be very diplomatic of them, would it?
No.
Well, I'll focus on the diplomacy, and you focus on these little spiritual obstacles that are getting in Good Vesta's way. They'll probably be tagging along with her when she goes to the cemetery, so I would make some preparations.
She kind of looks around at, like, the party, like, do you want me to throw you a party?
Why do I want to befriend a party?
I don't know. Seems like the thing to do around here.
Well, if this is Elysium, Elysium is meant to be a party. A great way of doing business without actually doing business.
It's a good way of getting everybody in one place.
I'm surprised half of us haven't already been shot and killed.
Give it time.
I worry that you're correct.
Pragmatic.
I would recommend making preparations for that as well.
Of course. So, expect our mutual friend and also expect them to bring some friends along as well, I'm guessing.
They may be hers, they may not be hers, I can't be sure. But she seemed to feel comfortable speaking with me at this Elysium, so... perhaps she'll be comfortable speaking of your cemetery. At the very least, you should be more secure there than she would be anywhere else. At least on one side of the veil.
Be sure to have everybody on their best behavior.
And I'm sure Vest will be more than happy to point you in the right direction if she can think of a way to speed up this whole process. Anyhow, that's about all I have. Sorry for being so vague.
No problem.
And might I say, once again, I appreciate your openness towards assisting me. The last time I had some kindred visit me looking to resolve a matter, it took an immense amount of time and patience just to get to the point.
Well, if I come to you, similar agreement would be appreciated. I like to keep things simple.
I'll be sure to keep that in mind. But is there anything else you need from me? Anything from me specifically, or anything you'd like to see done, or any project you need assistance with?
Nothing comes to mind.
Well, if anything does, don't hesitate to call upon me. I may not be the most accomplished or ingenious of our sect, but I do consider myself among the most connected.
Connections are pretty important.
They are.
And sometimes that's where most of the power comes from.
It is. It's how the Order has survived into modern nights, whereas covenants like the Legio Mortis and the Gallows Post failed.
Also, I think we're pretty good at staying out of politics, comparatively speaking.
That does help. Didn't save the Gallows, though. Anyhow, I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of Elysium. There's some mighty fine vessels here. I hear that one of them is not even human. Not fully.
Really?
Some lupine half-breed or so, I've heard.
Ugh.
Why, ugh? I can only imagine how it must taste.
No, I don't know if I want to put that in my mouth. I'm curious, but...
I don't believe I've ever met an Ordo so squeamish. Wow.
I guess I eat ghosts usually, so maybe it's...
You eat ghosts, and you drink from ghosts, and you complain about a lupine.
It seems like it'd be fuzzy.
Fuzzy?
Yeah, aren't they hairy?
That's not... The hair isn't in the blood.
Yeah, but you gotta get to the blood. Like...
Besides, apparently they're not even a lupine, just some sort of half-mix thing.
It's like some kind of carnival trick.
It wouldn't surprise me. No, Invictus. But I shall leave you to it. Have a pleasant evening, Figment.
You too. Thanks for the job.
And Laurel will wander on off, returning to her friend Vesta. I think with that, we can end this Elysium on a very non-dramatic note. Definitely not foreshadowing for things to come. No ill tidings here. None at
Kill
all.
everybody in Elysium if everybody in Elysium leaves.
Exactly. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you all next time. Oh, bye bye.